Yo, this is Teresa Weatherspoon, better known as Teaspoon, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe, you can.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real Fans, Real Talk. We as real as you thought. Real Fans.
What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. I know we're starting a little bit later tonight, but we still gonna give you that same show that y'all come to know and love. A lot of sports going down this week. A big rookie debut in the NFL that we're gonna get to in a minute. Some replacement boxes. We didn't even talk about this. The tank replacement yet. We're gonna get to that too. But let me introduce my co-host, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on, man?
What's really good, bro? Yeah, we got a lot to get into tonight. So go ahead and kick it off, man. Because Monday Night Football, we got boxing talk, we got NBA talk. The comment section's already buzzing.
Yes, I see all the comments over there. I guess we should start with football. Let me just get this out the way right now. Just throw the whole Giants defense away. That's what I'm gonna say. Just throw the whole Giants defense away. I don't care about firing defensive coordinators. Just throw the whole damn defense away.
I want to put this out there, right? It is November 24th, right? Right before Thanksgiving. Mark my words, Trip. The Giants next year will be a playoff caliber team.
I mean, if they can stay healthy, yeah, I believe that as well. But I'm just saying for this year, this moment, it's over. We I don't know who the best player in this year's draft is, but whoever it is, we taking for him.
Yeah, no. I just think that too often we judge teams based off wins and losses, and rightfully so, right? It's a business; you got to win games. I get that, but when you look at, like, yesterday was a prime example. For 3.5 quarters, they look better than the Detroit Lions, who we know are going to be a playoff team. This isn't the first time the Giants have done that. For 3.5 quarters, they look better than the Broncos. You know what I'm saying? There's been several games this year that you look at the Giants. Right. There's been several games this year. When you look at the Giants, you're like, yo, the talent is shown and the team looks really, really good. And then because of their lack of experience and their lack of winning, they don't know how to close out games. So yesterday was another example that they didn't know how to close out that game. Mark my words, Trip. Next year, the Giants are going to take that step into being a playoff caliber team. This all is part of the learning experience. Obviously, whoever they bring in as a head coach is going to be a big part of that next progression for them. Mm-hmm. But you can see the talent, bro. And like I said, the fact that they don't have much to play for, and they going toe-to-toe with the Lions and losing to them in overtime. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs had to have a MVP caliber performance just to beat the Giants. That speaks to the talent that's there.
Shout out to him because that, boy,
yeah, Gibbs is come on.
Passing game, running game, it don't matter. That boy good. Right. Shout out to the young boy. Hold on, let me see. You know what? Let me take this comment, Eric, because they seen you was on your celebrity status.
Yeah.
It's different now. I'm gonna go to this one. And I'm gonna go back up to the top. Imani says, Eric, I saw you reporting at the Magic Knicks game. Tell us about that moment and experience and how it came about. The pick with Mr. Frazier was dope.
Thank you, Imani. I appreciate that. So how it came about, the gentleman you saw me with, Terry Spain from Sports First Media, and he covers the Orlando Magic and Florida State Seminoles for Space Coast down in Florida. He and I worked together on the Bob Feller Foundation. Started back in 2019. I came on as part of the foundation, and I was helping him out with some of the podcasts and stuff they had going on. And he and I continue to stay in touch. And last year, he had reached out to me to see if I was interested in covering the Florida State game. I went down there during Virginia Tech. It worked really well. That was our first time kind of working together. Like I said, we had worked kind of, at distance for the foundation, but that was our first time working together at the Florida State game. Actually, not last year, 2 years ago. And then he reached out to me and kind of told me, hey, this opportunity might be there. He was trying to get Trip and I down there for the Miami Florida State game earlier this year, but we just weren't able to get the credentials. And then he kind of let me know last minute, hey, I got the opportunity if you still want to come down for the Knicks Magic. So I was like, absolutely. Went down there. It was great, man. Like I said, it was my second time kind of covering a pro game. So the atmosphere, the access early on was great. we got Coach Mosley, and I got some clips of the pregame press conference. We didn't know at the time that Coach Mosley got sick in the locker room because we were wondering why he didn't come out for the second half. Nobody had answers for us, and even at the post game press conference, he wasn't there. But the overall experience was dope. Shout out to the Orlando Magic. Shout out to everybody at the Kia Arena who showed us a lot of love, and shout out to Terry Spain, obviously, for granting me the opportunity to go cover the team. In terms of Clyde, I've met Clyde before. I think I posted this on older pic, but I met him a couple of times. And for those of you that don't know, Trip and I always joke about the boardroom at the Garden. We've been frequent visitors in the past of the boardroom, so we got opportunities to meet some of the Knicks legends and guys who formerly played for the Knicks. And Clyde, we were actually in the buffet room getting something to eat before the game started. He came in, him, Wally Zerbiak. I was hoping Monica McNutt came in because the radio crew was in there, but she never came in. I'm a big fan of her work. I'm not going to lie. But when I seen Clyde and we just started talking, Clyde's always very approachable. And as we were talking, I showed him the old picture I had him. I have an old picture with him in front of the Garden when he had like the cowskin suit on. Mm-hmm. And he busts out laughing immediately. He said, "Oh, we got to get you a new picture. That's I haven't worn that suit in years." So I was like, "All right, so let's get it." So as you can see in the picture, we're laughing and joking. And then he even says, hold on, get a picture of my rings. So that we laugh at it. It was a great time covering the game. The Knicks didn't play well in that game. Orlando's been giving the Knicks trouble in both their matchups this year. But overall, the experience was great, man. Again, shout out to Terry Spain, Space Coast Sports, Sports First Media, and the Orlando Magic. The hospitality was great, man. I'm looking forward to doing it again.
And before we get back, she also wants to know if Angel Reese was there because she's dating Wendell Carter Jr.
She was not there. I was hoping she was there too because I did think about that. I'm not gonna lie. From some of the pictures, I put up some of the pictures yesterday, and obviously we were on the court for the game. It was an early start game. Game started at 5. We were on the court by like 3:15. So we were getting obviously our pregame footage in. We were getting pictures. We were mingling with other people in the media. So I was hoping to see her there as well, but she was not.
Maybe next time. But let's get to these comments, man. Shout out to Kyrie. Kyrie says, "What did Shedeur Sanders prove on Sunday? Cam Newton thinks Kevin Stefanski does not want to see Sanders win." Well, Cam Newton ain't the only one that believes that, because Eric and myself feel that way too. Okay, so what did Shedeur Sanders prove on Sunday? Okay, he proved a couple of things on Sunday. But I think, first and foremost is, that pressure either busts pipes or it makes diamonds. And with everything that he's had to deal with from the time he left Colorado to falling in the draft to the 5th round to being in a system where, it's pretty obvious that, they wanted the other guy to work out, Dylan Gabriel. They wanted him to work out. So there's a lot that Shedeur has had to endure, in addition to just everything else that he has to endure just because his last name is Sanders. Yeah. So that's the first thing. He proved that all that pressure and all of that, he's built for this moment. He went in there and did what he had to do, got the job done, got the win. So that's one. He can deal with the pressure. 2, he showed that he is better than Dylan Gabriel. Now I'm saying myself and Eric, we knew that before. A couple of people knew that before as well, but he showed it this weekend with that win, the plays that he was making. And obviously it's going to take some time because he has not, been taking reps with the first team. He has not been on the field. So it's going to be a little time for him to grow, obviously, with any rookie, in sports. It takes you a while to really get a good grasp of the game. But from what we saw, the plays that he was making, he's definitely should have been the guy for this team, not Dylan Gabriel. He should have not been skipped out of the first, second, third, fourth round of the draft. He should have been drafted a lot higher than he was. And then the last thing, for everybody who's saying, "Oh, well, he only beat the Oakland Raiders." Okay, so for you guys going into this week, Oakland and Cleveland had the same record.
Mhm.
They were both bottom of the barrel teams. So this is not like, he just magically woke up and he got the Eagles offense and he beat the Oakland Raiders. No, the Browns have been bad. They haven't won a game in I think like a month. They only got, this is now their third win on the season. Okay, so these two teams, pretty much are even. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he had any special, anything special going into this game. He had the same bad team that Dylan Gabriel has had this entire season, and they went in there and they beat another bad team. But at the end of the day, these are all NFL players. And as you always say, Eric, you can only play who is in front of you.
I was just about to start my statement by saying that. You don't get to create the schedule. You just play who's in front of you. And before we say, they're only playing the Raiders, last time I checked, Drake May lost to the Raiders this year. Cam Ward lost to the Raiders this year. Those are two quarterbacks, right? Cam Ward was the number one pick. Drake May was a high first-round pick last year. Those are two quarterbacks who lost to the Raiders this year. So it's the NFL. Every team has good players on it. Are some teams worse than others? Absolutely. But it's the NFL. It's not like he's at a Division I school playing, a Division III school and beating up on guys who don't even deserve to be on the field. Everybody's a professional on the field. So that's first. Secondly, shout out to Kyrie because Kyrie kept the streak alive today, Trip. I thought you was going to say it. He wants to know again what was proven. Kyrie, week by week, shout out to Kyrie because every week, Kyrie, the question starts off. He wants to know what you've proven this week. What have you done for me lately?
This week somebody did prove something. This week somebody did.
Right, absolutely. Like I said, what have you done for me lately? All right, but I think Shador proved a couple things this week. First, he proved what we've been saying for a long time, Trip, that he was a first-round talent and he deserved the shot to show what he could do on the football field. Mm-hmm. Forget all the talk about did he interview well. Forget all the talk about, well, maybe he's not understanding the offense or, well, he doesn't have the strongest NFL arm. None of that matters because two of the most respected football minds when it comes to assessing college players are Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay. They've covered the draft. Mel Kiper's been covering the draft 30-plus years for ESPN. Todd McShay, 20-plus years. Both these guys were on record throughout the whole college football season last year saying that Shador Sanders was a top 10 NFL pick, right? Most of them, for most of the year, said if he's not the number one quarterback ahead of Cam Ward, he's directly underneath Cam Ward. That was the assessment. And for some reason, every NFL team thought they knew more than guys that have been covering the draft for 30-plus years, and he slid to the fifth round. And even sliding to the fifth round, the Browns still pulled the clown move of, well, we're going to keep Joe Flacco. We're going to keep Kenny Pickett on the roster. We're going to put Dylan Gabriel. We're going to stack the deck against Shador Sanders, right? Now, Shador Sanders got the week of practice like we talked about, Trip. We talked about this last week, right? He got the week with the ones. He went out there and performed. I want to give you an example of two rookie quarterbacks who started this year and the way that the media has covered each of their first game. Just first game only because that's what we got for Shador. I'm not even going to tell you the name of the first quarterback, Trip. I'm just going to give you his numbers, okay? Quarterback number one that I'm talking about, in his first start of the year, it was a home game as well. He went 13 of 20 for 111 yards, averaging 5.5 yards per completion, one touchdown. His longest pass in that game was 18 yards, okay? That quarterback, after his first start, was labeled, this is the successor. This is the face of the franchise. This is the guy that they need, right? Quarterback number two is Shador. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We know it's Shador. Shador yesterday went 11 of 20, 209 yards passing, 10.5 yards per completion, one touchdown, one bad interception. It happens with rookies. The most impressive thing about Shador's start yesterday, though, is I highlighted this last week. Dylan Gabriel, through his 6 starts, the longest pass Dylan Gabriel had completed this year was 26 yards. In Shador's one start, he had a pass of 39 yards, 52 yards, 66 yards, being able to throw the ball down the field, right? Quarterback A, Trip, I'm not taking no shots at quarterback A because I like him. But that rookie that I mentioned was Jackson Dart. When Jackson Dart threw for 111 yards and 1 TD and the Giants won, everyone said, the Giants got their quarterback. He's the guy. This is the one they've been waiting for, right? Shador had a better start with less talent. And yet now it's treated like, well, we got to see if he'd be good next week. This becomes the media moving the goalposts now. When Jackson Dart threw for 111 yards, we knew right away what he was. When Cam Ward threw 3 interceptions opening day, we still knew he was the franchise. But now, for some reason, when Shador has an efficient game, now it's like, it's the Raiders, though. It's the Raiders. What are we expecting? Well, what I expect is what I saw. Shador Sanders is by far a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. We saw it in college. Now we're seeing it in the NFL. Let's stop playing with the man's name. He is the best quarterback on the roster. He should get the reps again. Now, granted, Stefanski has already said, yes, he's starting next week against the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I'm telling y'all right now.
And he didn't say that at first, though.
Right. And the post-game press conference yesterday, you're absolutely correct. In the post-game press conference yesterday, he didn't confirm. But today he did come out and say, yes, Shador, even though Dylan Gabriel has cleared concussion protocol, he has said Shador is going to get all the reps with first team and Shador is going to stay. And today I got to give Stefanski this credit. Today he was very complimentary of Shador. He talked about the communication that he had with Shador on the field. He talked about the way Shador communicated with his teammates today. And he talked about the fact that Shador was able to do things in the offense that they hadn't been able to do yet. He didn't call out Dylan Gabriel, but he did say Shador's ability to get the ball down the field.
Technically, he did call him out, but
he did, but respectfully. Right, yeah. He did it respectfully because he said Shador's ability to get the ball down the field was one of the biggest changes in the offense. And like I said, you're going from a quarterback who started 6.5 games, and could not complete a pass longer than 26 yards. And immediately Shador, after 1 week with this same offense, was throwing the ball down the field 50-plus yards multiple times in this game. Oh, by the way, if we want to talk again, it was the Raiders. Go look at the rushing numbers because the Browns only ran for 67 yards as a team. So it's not like he relied on the running game. This was Shador beating a team with his arm as a rookie on the road. Shador deserves all the credit. He proved a lot yesterday, Kyrie. And I think Shador now will get to keep the job for the rest of the year. And then my hope now for Shador is now continue to grow off it. You ain't got to be spectacular, but if you give us another efficient performance next week, what they going to say then?
I mean, somebody's still going to hate, but you know that.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be one. It's going to be Rex Ryan.
Both look like Rex Ryan.
Yeah. But, listen, man, you're absolutely right. There is no offense here whatsoever. At best, Jerry Jeudy, who I don't know what you were doing yesterday on that one reception where you got hit and fumbled the football. I don't know what that was, but at best, at best, Jerry Jeudy is a number 2 wide receiver. The rest of those guys at receiver, it's like it's the bad news bears, and maybe they might get better. I don't know, but as of right now, ain't nobody known on the rest of that wide receiver corps. You get tight end, and you want to go to your tight end. You say, oh well, they got David Njoku. He wasn't even in there yesterday. He's not even starting no more. He's the backup now. The other kid, you know what I'm saying, he's young and got a lot to prove, but he ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying, special. You know what I'm saying? At least right now. And I'm saying that respectfully. I'm not trying to disrespect homie, but I'm just saying as far as the talent in comparison to other teams, or even if you comparing to what's the tight end position on the other side of the field, which is Brock Bowers. It ain't nothing like that. Okay, the running back Judkins, he's young. He's had a decent year, but it ain't like, you know what I'm saying, we looking at this kid like, yo, he's about to be the next running back. You know what I mean? He'd be all pro, top 5 caliber running back. He's still got a lot to prove. The offensive line is damn near not even existent. Okay, we know that. So for him to be able to come in and do what Dylan Gabriel could not do, it gives Stefanski and a whole lot of other people a huge slice of humble pie. And that's what they needed. And I hope that this was the wake-up call that the organization needed, and they will now give Shador their full support and whatever else he needs to hurry and get him acclimated to playing in this league, playing at this pace, playing with this team. All right, I hope they can accomplish that. But shout out to Shador, man. I'm so happy for him, having his moment.
Listen, I think that, like you said, the Browns lack a lot of talent. Obviously, Myles Garrett is by far the best player on the team, and he's probably going to break Strahan's record. He needs to get I think 6 sacks in the last 5 games.
Yeah, he pretty much got
to break it. I thought there were so many great clips from yesterday for Shador, right? The moment with him and Dion, him and Max Crosby hugging after the game and laughing, about competing. But I thought the most telling was a guy like Myles Garrett, who's been a multiple-time Pro Bowler, who's been a first-team All-Pro. His reaction to that 66-yard throw that Shador made. There's a guy who goes against the best quarterbacks every week, and he was shocked by the throw that his rookie quarterback was able to make on the run. So if that don't let you know about the talent that Shador's had, I don't know what else will. The Browns, though, you and I have said this since the draft trip. Crazy, because you and I have done draft podcasts for the last couple of years. This year, we actually did like a 3-day damn draft podcast because we were trying to wait for him to get. We were trying to wait for him to get drafted. The Cleveland Browns do not deserve Shador Sanders, and they completely fumbled this whole situation from day one. And now Shador is going to save them from looking like complete fools, because I promise you, Shador will start the rest of the season. Shador will look like a good, young, up-and-coming quarterback, which we already knew he was. And somehow the Browns, who messed it up for the whole first 60% of the season, are going to look like winners by the end of the season, because it's like, hey, Shador's your guy, and you got him at a 5th-round contract. Yeah. When other teams are overpaying for quarterbacks, you got a good talent in the 5th round as your quarterback.
So you got some time to get this thing right and to bring some guys in, because you ain't paying Shador damn near nothing.
Right.
And once Dylan Gabriel's contract is up, if they even keep him, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're gonna be giving him the max, because he's gonna be the backup. So it is what it is. All right. Are the Rams the best team in the NFL? They are one of the better teams in the league. I can't put the stamp on them as the best team in football, though. Just yet, but they are a contender. I do think they can go on a deep run. They might have, if not the best, top 3, top 4, with their wide receiver corps, with the 2 receivers, with Puka and Devontae. So they might have that. They got a solid defense. I mean, if Aaron Donald was still playing, I might even say they're gonna be in the Super Bowl if he was still playing for that defense. He ain't too far removed from his playing days. But shout out to the Rams. I think they're having a really good season. I think they're surprising a lot of people, because I don't think too many people had them at 9-2 at this point in the season, at the beginning of the year. So I'm interested in seeing how they finish off this season. But I do think they are one of the better teams definitely in the NFC. If I was going to pick the best team, though, I probably would have to either go with the Patriots or the Colts right now.
It's crazy you mentioned Aaron Donald, because I heard somebody on a podcast throw out the idea that with the Rams, ask Aaron Donald if he want to come back, because I think he would have to be on the roster by December 1st to be eligible for playoffs. And somebody floated the idea, because he was at the game yesterday. Somebody floated the idea, like, what if they just said then, hey, let us just put you on the roster? And if you feel like himself, he keeps himself in game shape, and it's like, look, you don't have to play a whole season. Let's just put you on the roster, and now you take the next couple of weeks to just kind of get in game shape for the playoffs, right? So now that you say it, now it's making me wonder, like, damn, I wonder if there is maybe something to that. But
he was out working. What was it? I forgot who it was. I think it was one of their maybe receivers.
Him and Jared Verse have been working out the last couple of years.
Yeah, and he's out working him in the workout, and he has not played and it was over a year now, right? A year and a half.
It's been 2 seasons now, yeah.
So,
but Aaron Donald is a workout beast. Like I said, we're here Monday before Thanksgiving. As of today, I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. And I appreciate you putting the Colts in that conversation, but the Colts yesterday fumbled an opportunity against the Chiefs. I thought Shane Steichen, I know somebody mentioned it, but Shane Steichen got too conservative, and the Colts should have delivered the death blow when they had the chance to. They gave Patrick Mahomes, we always say it, Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. You can't give him second life. And that's what the Colts did. The Patriots, it's going to get interesting because the Patriots do have the number 1 seed in the AFC, but they just lost their left tackle and their left guard. The report haven't come out on how severe the injuries are. If their line gets banged up, that's going to be an interesting situation for them.
Yeah, that's
because as we talked about, they're not elite at any one position. They're a great collective.
Yep.
And so now if your O-line is struggling, you're going to see the effects of your running game and your passing game not able to do the things that they once were able to do.
We saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Correct. Yep. And we see what's happening with the Chargers right now with their O-line being decimated by injuries. So that could be a major blow if those things are severe. Now, to me, the Rams at 9-2, I thought they were going to win yesterday. They've been just, I think, the most consistent team the last couple of weeks. But I think a couple numbers should really stand out to me, Trip. First, Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford on the year has 30 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Think about that for a second, bro. Like, when we talk about playing at a different level, he's still
cooking.
He's at over 2,800 yards passing on the season. You still got, 9-2 to 11. So they got 6 games left. Very real possibility he's going to be well over 4,000 yards, maybe even closer to 4,500 yards. All right. We know about Puka. We know about Devontae Adams. But the one thing that really sticks out to me, when we talk about best team, in terms of point differential, they're a plus 127. That is the best in the NFL. In terms of points allowed, they've only given up 179 points so far. That is also the best in the NFL. So you're talking about a defense that's operating at an elite level, and you're talking about an offense led by Matthew Stafford that's operating at an elite level, where, like I said, they're not just beating teams. They're really getting these games over pretty quickly. They did it a couple of weeks ago against the Seahawks when they forced 4 turnovers against Sam Darnold. They did it yesterday against Tampa. I know Baker Mayfield went out of that game, but even when Baker went out, they were already up 21-7. They were starting to put the beats on. I think this team is really, really good. I said from preseason that I thought they were the biggest threats to stopping the Eagles repeat. And I think right now they are the best team in the NFC and in the NFL. And if they lock down number 1 seed and they don't have to worry about going outdoors and they get that bye week, then they become even tougher to beat. Because I think with that little bit of rest, that could elevate them over any other team in the NFC.
Yes, yeah, I believe that as well. Shout out to Ron. He says, "Can Tampa still win the South?" I believe so. For 2 reasons. One, you just mentioned the Baker injury. He dodged a bullet. It's not something too crazy. So he may miss a couple of weeks, but he should be fine to finish the season off. So that's the first reason. And the second reason is it's the NFC South, which is kind of like the Wild Wild West of the bad division teams. So everybody's got a chance in the NFC South at this point. I'm surprised, and I know I'm sure a lot of people are surprised that Carolina is playing as well as they are playing. But yeah, this is the NFC South. This division, I'm trying to think the last time they really had a team where, probably, I guess when, Brady was probably the last time, but then before that, it probably was Drew Brees playing for the Saints, where they really had a legitimate team in the division. But it's the South. Anything's possible in the NFC South.
Tonight's game will be interesting if the Panthers can find a way to win. I think the Buccaneers can still win the division. Yeah, I think that the Bucs can still win the division. They're 6-5, but the injuries are really what's catching up to them. Like you said, Baker might be out a week or 2. Mike Evans still isn't back. They just got Chris Godwin back. They don't have Bucky Irvin back yet. Yep. So you're in a tough spot right now. Their next 6 games trip to end the season.
Who's their back?
Teddy Bridgewater.
My man Teddy B. All right.
Crazy part about Teddy Bridgewater, he was just coaching high school football a couple months ago.
I was about to say, because I didn't even realize.
Yeah. So shout out to Teddy for staying ready. But
They ready to
again. I don't want to get too excited about it because again, he was coaching up 10th and 11th graders a couple months ago, and now you in the NFL game. But the next 6 games, Trip, if they're 6-5, how many wins you think they need to win the division? Maybe 3 more, 9 wins.
Yeah, I'd probably say it's gonna be a 9-win team that wins this game.
All right. So this is their last 6 games. The next 3 are all at home. They get the Cardinals at home. They should win that. They get the Saints at home. They should win that. They get the Falcons at home. Falcons are very beatable. So
this is the Buccaneers schedule or the Panthers schedule?
This is the Buccaneers.
Okay.
So even if they don't win all 3, if they win 2 out of those 3, they're in great shape. The last 3 weeks of the season is where it gets interesting because 2 of their last 3 games are against the Panthers. So it kind of looks like this division is going to come down to the last day of the season.
So you need
the last game of the season. Yeah, with the healthy Baker, that would be at home against the Panthers. So again, their last 6, you got Cardinals, you got Saints, you got Falcons, you got at Carolina, at Miami against the Dolphins, and then home for Carolina.
Crazy thing is, if this team is healthy, I would say they'd run the table.
If they were healthy, yes, I think so. If they were healthy, I think they're better than all those teams. But with Baker missing probably the next week or 2, you got to wonder, can you win both those games without him? Again, you don't know if you get Mike Evans back. Bucky Irving, there's been hints that he's supposed to come back, but it hasn't happened yet. So they got to just get healthy. If they get healthy, I think they win 9, maybe 10 games, and they win the division. So I still think they can win the division, but it's going to be tougher than it looked a couple of weeks ago when they were really rolling offensively, and it looked like they were going to run away with the division.
Yeah, that's the price, man. Them injuries start to add up, boy. Shout out to Squeezy. He says Cowboys come back to stun the Eagles, keep their playoff hopes alive. I mean, great game for the Cowboys. The reason I didn't bet on this game was because I felt like the Cowboys would win this game, but I was still nervous because the Cowboys have been really bad a lot of times this season. But they were incredible in this game versus the Eagles. They completely shut Saquon Barkley down. They could not move the football, run the football. Now I do want to say this because I was talking about this. Well, actually, I want to say 2 things because for all the Eagles fans out there that I know, including everybody's favorite Make-A-Wish kid, Eagles fan, Gilly. It got quiet. It was real quiet yesterday. After that comeback. So that's why I just wanted to get that out the way. But in all seriousness though, there's gonna be a problem now with the Eagles organization because we've talked a lot this season about AJ Brown and his issues and trying putting the pride aside for the win and whatever and him wanting his numbers and his targets and this and that. Now you got your targets, you got over 100 yards receiving, you got a touchdown in this game, and y'all lost. So I want to see where this goes now, because if the Eagles decide we about to get right back to the ground game and refocus his offense on the running game like we should have been doing no matter what, because that's what got us here. That's what got us back to a Super Bowl. That's what got us a championship, was us being able to rely on the running game. You had your opportunity, you got your big game, and the team loses. So now, I really want to see where this thing goes, because if they go in next week, let's say, and AJ Brown gets 3 targets and finishes with 35 yards, but the Eagles win the game, it's going to be a hard sell to be like, well, we need to be trying to force the football to you every game.
Somebody asked us last week if the way the Eagles were winning was sustainable. And I said then I didn't think it was sustainable because there's too many times where the Eagles go too cold offensively. And I highlighted, like I said, the previous 2 wins, Yeah, the defense looked good. The defense found a way to hold on and win those games against the Lions, and the week before that was against Green Bay. But then when you play a team that can actually put up some points, we know Dallas has been one of the better offenses all year. This is the type of pressure that a team like Dallas can put on you. And that's not to say Dallas is better than Philly, but even down 21-0, you knew Dallas was going to still put up some points, right? The offense is too good. They're going to end up having 2 1,000-yard receivers on that team. And the Eagles, for probably the fourth or fifth time this year, went scoreless in the second half of the game. And that is a major, major problem if you are a Super Bowl contender. You can't rely on the fact that, we had a good first half and our defense will lock it down. The NFL and the teams are too good to think you're just going to shut a team out just because you're up in that game. Especially a team like Dallas, who they're probably more comfortable losing anyway because they want to throw the ball. Dak Prescott, they want to air it out anyway. So being down, to me, the most surprising thing, and this is why I've said for several weeks in a row, and I said it even before the season started, that I wasn't going to judge Jerry Jones purely off of the trade. It looks like Dallas actually has a plan defensively. Because like you said, they shut down Saquon, right? Well, why did they shut down Saquon? Because they have 2 elite defensive tackles now that are clogging up too much space in the middle of that defense with Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark, right? So now to run the ball against them, which is what Jerry has always said, we need to be better at stopping the run. Now it's very difficult to run on Dallas now. It's very difficult to get that part of the game, and which now fits into what Matt Eberflus as the defensive coordinator wants to do. They can sit in a bunch of zone coverages now because you're not a threat to run the ball on us. You have to throw into our zones. The Eagles, I think, have a lot of issues. I think the Eagles are going to be fool's gold for most of the rest of the season. We're giving the Eagles credit because of what they did last year and the fact that they've been to 2 Super Bowls with Jalen Hurts. But this offense, Saquon, at some point we got to call it this. Saquon has not looked good all year, Trip. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have not got separation from cornerbacks the way they did last year. Every week, the Eagles look like they are grinding out victories. Come playoff time, when the offenses are better and the quarterbacks are better, the Eagles are going to have a lot of trouble. And don't be surprised when the Eagles get upset in the playoffs. Because right now, I just don't see a team in the Eagles that are a Super Bowl caliber team.
And, part of, because, you mentioned the separation issues, but part of that is because they are not running the football.
They can't, they're not running the football the way they did last year.
Yeah. And it's not even close. Okay. It is not even close to what they were doing last season, which means that, things are going to struggle. Let me throw Will's comment up. He said the NFC comes down to the Eagles and Rams. The Bears are this year's Washington from last year. As I've said ad nauseum, that the Hale Jaden game changed the season for both teams. Still pretenders.
Well,
go ahead, Eric.
No, I would say, Will, you my man, Will, but in a way, this statement is contradictory. Because if they're last year's Commanders, then that means the Bears are going to the NFC Championship game. Because the Commanders were in the NFC Championship game last year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not completely sold on the Bears either. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to beat Philly on Friday night. But if we're putting them in that category, then we're saying that the Bears have the potential to go on a little bit of a playoff run with Caleb Williams.
So do you give the Bears a chance to beat Philly?
I do. Because everything I said.
You think the Eagles ultimately win, or
I think the Eagles will win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles win this game the way they've won most of their games this year, with their defense making plays, and their offense maybe making 3 or 4 big plays but not being consistent. But all year, this is who the Eagles have been. And we talked about it. It started on opening night, Trip. Remember, they had 21 points at the half against the Cowboys. They scored 3 points the rest of the game.
Yep. Yeah.
It showed again yesterday. They had 21 points at the half. They didn't score the rest of the game. They look back to the Broncos game, how the Broncos came back and beat them. A lot of these games look at the Giant game when the Giants beat them. A lot of these games are the Eagles look good for the first half. And for people that may not pay attention to the intricacies of football, most of the first half is really scripted offense. Those are normally like the 30 to 40 plays that you've worked on all week. And so the team is really comfortable in those plays. But the moment that you got to start making adjustments, which is really halftime adjustments and on, the Eagles have not looked good. So I don't know if that just goes to Nick Sirianni not making the right adjustments. I don't know if that goes to the players just not feeling comfortable in the play calling. But for whatever reason, there's been a trend all season with the Eagles that they start pretty solid and they fade as the game goes on. That's why I think the Bears will hang tough with them. I don't think the Bears will beat them, but I would not be surprised if that comes down to a final possession type game.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me take Squeezy's question. Did the Eagles get exposed?
Absolutely. I think the Eagles have been exposed. We're giving them credit based off of what they did last year, because what we do too often is that we don't want to discount a team winning a championship, right? We don't want to count them out because, again, you're still the champion.
No matter what, like we just don't want to count nobody out.
Like, right. You're still the champion until proven otherwise. But I just think,
especially when your team is healthy.
Right, exactly. Because the issues with the Eagles haven't been health. Again, Saquon is there. But as you mentioned, has Saquon looked anything like himself from last year, Trip?
No.
Right?
Not
we talked about it. Right. Last week, like I said, when I forgot who posed the question, we talked about, the Eagles, can they keep winning this way? And I said, going into this week, in 4 of their last 5 games, Saquon struggled just to get to 60 yards rushing. He had that one big game against the Giants. Other than that, he was struggling in his rushing yards. And again, it proved again yesterday. Trip, he had 10 carries for 22 yards yesterday. The week before, he had the 83-yard game against Detroit, good. Then he had a 60-yard game against Green Bay. 2 weeks before that, he only had 44 yards against Minnesota. So again, in 4 of his last 5 games, he's gone over 80 yards 2 times. He's struggling to get the big plays that open field. This team, I think, as a whole, when you look at the Eagles and you look at their wins this year, there's plenty of games we could look at and be like, yeah, they just got by. They just kept squeaking by. Again, 19-6 against Detroit, 10-7 against Green Bay, 28-22 against the Vikings, right? They lose that close game. They win a close game against the Buccaneers. They win a close game against the Rams. They win a close game against the Chiefs. All those games, we could point to 1 and 2 plays and be like, if it goes the other way, there's a different team.
And that's why I don't feel like they were exposed yesterday.
I think this is who they are.
Yeah, this is it. So, listen, and for for the Eagles fans out there, I don't even know what to tell y'all, because again, if this was a situation where Saquon went down for 6 weeks, Jalen Hurts missed a couple of games, AJ Brown got hurt, then I could be like, well, some rest and some
right.
You know what I'm saying, some reps and you get right back in there. But this ain't that.
No.
For the most part, this team has been healthy this entire season, but they don't have a secondary. Okay, they brought in Jair Alexander from the Ravens, and then he went and retired. Not that he was doing much for the Ravens anyway when he was with Baltimore this year. So you didn't even really improve your secondary, with that trade. And they brought over the other cornerback from the Jets as well. But the defense, man, this ain't the Eagles defense from last year. I don't know, what they can even do at this point, but I don't feel like the Eagles get to a Super Bowl this year. And if I'm being honest, they may not even make it to the NFC Championship game.
I don't think they've now.
Depending on how the NFCs line up.
Right. I was going to say, depending on the matchup, that's going to really dictate, because, a favorable matchup. Again, if they get Detroit in Philadelphia, we probably like Philly to beat them. Yeah. Right. If they get Seattle in Philadelphia, probably give the edge to Philly to win.
Yeah, I would.
The only team, like I said, that I clearly feel like is better than them is the Rams. And then I think from there on, it would be matchups, depending on where Philly would have to go to play. But I just don't think that Philly is as good as they were last year. I think their defense is still good, but there are real issues with this offense. And don't forget, a couple years ago when they went to the Super Bowl and lost, they had the same issues the following year. And the whole talk about Sirianni, is he the right head coach? AJ Brown, this whole drama played out before. And that year, they lost in their first playoff game. Mm-hmm. Even though they won the division, they made the playoffs, everybody was excited, they defended champs, they lost right away. That's why I'm saying I think we have to pay attention to who they are. This is who they are. Offensively, they're going to have small moments here and there. Defensively, they're pretty sound, they're pretty good. But the problem is, come playoff time, the quarterback play gets better. You're not playing against JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing against the best quarterbacks in the NFC week in, week out. And even though you might be able to beat Jared Goff and Philly, but again, I think Sam Darnold presents another set of challenges because that Seahawks defense is really good.
Yeah.
Right? A healthy Baker Mayfield with his weapons, they've beaten you in the playoffs before, and they've played you tough in the playoffs before. So that creates another set of issues. And then, God forbid, if the Cowboys make it and they got to play the Cowboys, you talking about Dak Prescott, who's had success against you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I say that I don't think the Eagles, like you said, are exposed. I think they are who they are, and we just got to believe it. This is who they are. They're not a really good team. They're solid, but I don't think they are a Super Bowl team right now.
Yeah. Shout out to Pooh. She says, so the other night, Klay Thompson and Morant got into it. Morant was calling Klay a bum. Then after the game, Klay went in on Ja's career and character. Is Ja becoming unlikable? Listen, Eric's been saying this. The writing's been on the wall for Ja to get up out of Memphis. He needs a fresh start. He's getting since the last time we spoke about Ja Morant. He's had a couple of DNPs, coach's decision. I just think that the situation with him and Klay is just him lashing out type of situation, because of everything that's been going on. Now whether or not Klay is a bum right now is that's a different question. He's definitely not Game 6 Klay, but that whole Dallas team is looking really bad right now, as a whole. So I don't know if once they're healthy again, would Klay begin to look better? Because when you're in a situation where you have your five is Kyrie, Klay, Cooper Flag, Anthony David, and either Likely or Gafford, that's going to change how defenses have to play you, because Kyrie can break down the defense the way he does, because Anthony Davis commands the double team the way he does. That can put Klay back into a situation where you don't have to do anything but shoot the basketball and maybe try to stay in front of your guy. You know what I'm saying? If you can, we know you're not, because again, prior to the injuries, Klay was actually one of the better two-way players in the league before all the injuries start taking their toll on him. So I'm not gonna stamp Klay a bum. He's started off the season bad. I gotta see how they do once everyone is healthy and back. And is Ja Morant becoming unlikable? You take the good with the bad. People gonna like him. People gonna like you. People gonna hate you. You know what I mean? Like I don't think if you're a fan of Ja Morant, that didn't stop you from being a fan of Ja Morant. If all the lives doing the gun stuff and all of this stuff, then this situation with the kid, with the high school student or whatever, if that didn't stop you from liking Ja Morant, this damn shit ain't gonna stop you from liking Ja Morant. It didn't stop me from liking Ja Morant. So
yeah. I mean, is he unlikable to a select group of people? Yeah, he's unlikable, right? Is his time in Memphis done? I thought it was done a year ago. And like you said, I've said it so many times. I don't know what they're waiting for to pull the trigger on. And maybe that's not even the right word to use, Trip. But I don't know what they're waiting on to make the trade. After I said it, I thought about like that. Maybe that ain't the right choice of word. But I don't know what they're waiting on to make the trade, because Ja needs to change the scenery already. But in terms of that interaction the other night, Ja wants the attention of I guess upper echelon teams that have won so bad. Remember, Ja's the one who made the comment about we ain't worried about nobody in the West, right? Yeah. Ja's the one who they had back and forth words with the Warriors, and that famous clip of Klay Thompson pointing at his ring finger is against Memphis. Yeah. So this has been an ongoing thing. But for me, Ja, you're not even playing tonight, and you making comments, and you trying to go back and forth with players. Bro, get healthy, get on the court. Yeah. Because it's been very underwhelming the last couple of years. You haven't done much, and you haven't really lived up to the hype per se. You came into the league strong. Them first 3 years were very good. Since then, you've fallen off. So for you to take shots at, you could call Clay a bum all you want. At this point in his career, maybe Clay is a bum. But Clay still accomplished more than you've accomplished in the NBA. And Clay overall, like I said, was at his peak probably a better player. Because again, two-way Clay was an elite defensive player as well as one of the best shooters in the game. Ja's more explosive. He's more athletic. But if you're telling me who was
a two-way player,
right, he was never a two-way player. And you nenever contributed what Klay Thompson has contributed on the court. So how can you call a man a bum when you never was at that level? Yeah. That to me, that's what's corny. But that's the internet. That's
now, if he said he washed up now, I'm like, all right,
yeah, all right, fair. That's a fair assessment.
Let me. Will says Ja needs to go for sure, but how many contending teams want him? His style of play, personality, and immaturity can wreck a locker room, and winners don't want that energy / distraction. See you in DC, my guy. That's why Eric and I were talking, and Eric, you were talking about him going to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
because he's going to need a start where they can they're rebuilding, not to where he's got to come in and you got to try to get him to mesh with the guys in the locker room after everything that's done transpired over these last couple of years. And he's coming in where I'm that guy. I don't care who, you know what I'm saying? If he goes to a team that's not a playoff team, maybe, middle of the pack to a bad team, he can just kind of come in and really just be him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I answered that question.
But,
right, I answered that question as you was reading it. No contending team wants Ja Morant because he's not a contending player. If he was a quality guy, I mean, not individual off the court, but quality player on the court that can help you contend, Memphis would be contending right now. Would they not? Right? The reason they're not contending is because their best player does not elevate the team to that level. So there's no contending team that's going to deal with his nonsense. Let's just call it what it is. There's no contending team that's going to deal with all the antics. So, like Will said, he might be in DC. It's the reason why I said Brooklyn, right? These are the teams that are going to go after him because in terms of like star appeal, yeah, he still has that. There's still a lot of people who like Ja Morant as a player and would tune in just if he's on their team. Yeah. But if you're saying, oh, we got Ja Morant and now we're contenders, no. Because if it was that simple, Memphis would be contenders. Memphis ain't been a contender for 3 years.
And they still got, outside, they don't have Bane, but they still got Jaren Jackson Jr. there. You still got Ja. You know what I'm saying? Y'all supposed to be two of the future, big name stars of the league.
The prior 2 seasons when they had Desmond Bane, they wasn't contenders then either.
So, what are you going to do? And one other thing in regards to my main man, Game 6 Clay, he ain't no bum. He was able to pull Meg Thee Stallion.
No.
He ain't no bum. When you can do that, that's it. Ron says the Chiefs finally won a close game, beat the Colts in overtime. That may have been the signature win of the season for the Chiefs, for a couple of reasons. One, because as I said earlier, I think that the Colts may be the best team in football. So that in itself is a huge win. But this is also a season-saving win because you're talking about they were down, I think, what was it, 20-9, something like that at one
20-9 to start the fourth quarter, yeah.
20-9, so to come back and get the victory in that fashion to really kind of keep your playoff hopes alive. And you guys have gotten lucky, with the division kind of struggling the way it has. So this win for the Kansas City Chiefs, where you guys are in third place, you could not have afforded to lose that game and been 5-6 right now with the Broncos being on absolute fire, the Chargers coming out the gate the way they did. Obviously, they're dealing with some injuries on that offensive line, which has kind of slowed them down a little bit. But you're in third place, and you could not have afforded to lose that game.
The Chiefs, it definitely was a season-defining win for them because if they would have lost that and then you would have had to come on a short week, we just finished talking about the Cowboys and how much the Cowboys have improved. As the Chiefs, you would have had to go on the road and been in desperation mode on Thanksgiving Day. Now, it's still the game you got to win, but at least you got a little bit of room now knowing like, all right, we're still in the mix. We still control things. We don't need any help to make the playoffs. The Colts, like I said, to me, this game is more about, and maybe I sound like a homer, this game is more about the Colts blowing this though. You're up 20-9 going into the fourth quarter. I thought Shane Steichen just got way too conservative. There was a couple of times that I thought you got to go for it on fourth down. And I think when you look at the raw numbers of this game, even if you didn't watch the game, the raw numbers, look how many more plays the Chiefs ran than the Colts. They ran damn near 40 more plays. The time of possession was completely lopsided in this game, right? The Chiefs were able to control the ball. And one of the things I talked about last week when I forgot who mentioned it, but when they talked about Mahomes and is Mahomes to blame for the struggles? And I said, no, it's the lack of a running game. They weren't running the ball. Well, guess what they did yesterday, Trip? They ran the ball 35 times, right? They stuck with the run even when it wasn't working at times yesterday, and they played ball control offense. If you're the Colts, shout out to Greenmont. Shout out to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who came off the practice squad to play yesterday because Pacheco was a late scratch. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I thought, gave him good snaps yesterday and pass protection and spot run opportunities. But
first round draft pick a couple years ago.
But I also say shout out to him because 2 years ago, it was reported that he was dealing with some mental health issues. And the Chiefs stuck by him and allowed him to kind of get himself together. And like you said, yes, he was a first-round pick. But we know in this business, teams will walk away from you really quickly. The Chiefs stuck by his side to help him through it. So shout out to the Chiefs on that as well. But I thought for the Colts, it's a bad loss, but it's also one that you can learn from. Because the Chiefs, I think, showed yesterday, if you're going to beat the Colts in the playoffs, you're going to have to do it the way the Chiefs did yesterday. You're going to have to play ball control offense, keep the Colts offense off the field, and slow down the game. And the Chiefs were able to do that. And that's why I thought Shane Steichen needed to be more aggressive late in that game. That defense was tired. That defense had been on the field a lot. And that defense had made some great plays, a couple of goal line stops where they held the Chiefs to field goals. At some point, you got to understand, hey, the defense has been on the field a lot. Our offense is supposed to be our strength. Go win that game with your offense. I thought Lou Anarumo, the defense coordinator, did a great job. We saw what the two corners could do yesterday because I thought they did a really good job. Rashid Rice didn't get going until late in that game, but across the board, Worthy wasn't beating them down the field. There wasn't really big plays for the Chiefs. They really had to dink and dunk their way down the field. But that ball control offense is what killed the Colts yesterday. And for the Chiefs, if they win on Thursday, then we talk about a team that might be back. They might be back.
Well, can we before we take this next time, can we shout out my Baltimore Ravens running off 5 straight right now to take that division lead? Shout out to my guys.
Yep, they back in the mix too.
Please keep Lamar healthy, please. I don't know if this is Lamar Jackson here that wrote this comment, but shout out to Lamar. He says, "Are the Bears about to be exposed?" No, I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think they're going to be exposed is because I think this is going to be another close game with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why I don't think they're going to. This is not a situation where I'm like, oh, well, the Bears has been Philly this whole season. This ain't nothing. Eagles about to come in and beat them by 30. No, I think this is going to be a close game that's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah. I think the Bears have benefited from a weaker schedule. I talked earlier about plus minus. Even though the Bears are 8-3, they're -3 in points. You know what I'm saying? Like they haven't really been putting teams away. It's been a lot of last second field goals like you saw yesterday, like what happened against the Giants, last second game winners. So do I think they get exposed? No, I don't think the Eagles will dominate them, but I do expect the Bears to lose. I would say probably the Eagles win anywhere in the range from like 7 to 10 points. So it'll be a competitive game, but I think the Eagles just have more talent than them, and the Eagles will find a way to win that game.
Yeah. All right. D'Angelo says Draymond Green finally responds to Kenyon Martin's disses to him over the years, but Kenyon went on live and went in. What y'all read on this one? I mean, it's just cats talking trash. It is what it is. Listen, I think that both of these guys, had great careers. They both, were in the league. Obviously, Kenyon Martin's not in the league anymore, but was in the league for a long time. Same thing with Draymond Green. Obviously, Draymond has I would say the better resume, but but Kenyon is the better individual player out of the two. So whatever, they going back and forth. Like I said, I don't care about that, the back and forth, as long as they don't turn into nothing outside of the dialogue back and forth. I'm fine with it.
I said from jump, I thought it was kind of whack of Kenyon Martin. The most recent comments, anyway. He's made comments before where he said, "Oh, I can list 200 guys better than Draymond." Like, then when he came out with the list, and I heard some of the guys that was on the list that he claims, like, bro, stop.
Yeah, but nah, a lot of them dudes wasn't. Now they may be over the course of the NBA, but the guys he was naming ain't them.
Come on, stop, bro. We gotta like. I just don't understand. Sometimes we criticize guys when they're not winners. We criticize guys when they don't want to buy into their role. And then when Draymond buys into his role, now he's a bum for buying into his role. Like we're not gonna act like Draymond has not won multiple Defense Player of the Year awards. We're not gonna act like Draymond hasn't been first team all defense several times. We're not gonna act like Draymond Green, for people that may not remember, right? It's known as the Kyrie Irving shot in Game 7. Go back and look at Draymond's numbers from that Game 7 against the Cavaliers, right? When Draymond needed to be good offensively, Draymond was good offensively when he needed to be. But that was not his role. His role was to play defense and facilitate offense and kind of be the glue guy for their team. Now, Draymond could have easily played on a team that was not as good as the Warriors and probably averaged 16 points a night and have better offensive numbers, but then he would never won anything.
Yeah.
He bought into his role. And I think, like I said, Kenyon Martin taking them type of attacks is like, bro, which one is it? Are you mad at the guy for being a part of a winning organization? You mad at the guy because his career as a whole was better than your career? And I thought what Draymond said was very true. Kenyon Martin was great coming out of college. Kenyon Martin was the number 1 pick. But Kenyon Martin never was a guy who impacted winning because the Nets didn't become good until Jason Kidd got there.
Yeah.
When Jason Kidd got there, then they became a playoff team and went to the finals. Prior to Jason Kidd, Kenyon Martin was not impacting winning. Kenyon Martin wasn't helping them make runs into the NBA finals. On the flip side,
just a good player.
On the flip side, Draymond may have been the missing piece that really helped elevate the Warriors. Because, yeah, we know about Steph and Clay and how great they were. But the fact that Draymond, who could play undersized center and guard all the positions, that's what created the lineup of depth. That's what allowed them to keep all the shooters and knowing, yo, Draymond can handle anybody on any pick and roll switch and any defensive assignment. So I 1,000% agree with Draymond Green here. Kenyon Martin to me comes across somebody who's hating and is mad that his career did not go the same way that he wanted it to go. Again, because he was the number 1 pick. He even said something recently when he was trying to get on Nick Young about, you was never a number 1 option on your team. You ain't never shoot 2 for 16 in the NBA Finals. Like, bro, what? You bragging about a game where you shot 2 for 16 in the NBA Finals? Because you took 16 shots, you bragging about that?
Yeah, that was. I didn't get that one. I mean, again, even though Nick Young had a worse career than both of them, there was still like I didn't understand that analogy you was trying to use.
Yeah.
Let me pull up this one. D'Angelo said, to me, Green is talking about career, and Martin is talking about being a tough guy. Well, again, Draymond had the better career. Now, let's say if the roles were reversed and Draymond had to be the best guy on their team, would he have the same resume? Probably not. But we can only go by what he has, and that's the resume that he has. Now, whether he's a fake tough guy or not, that's something different. That I would probably agree with because I really think he only messed with Europeans and light skinned dudes. So maybe he might be a fake tough guy.
Maybe he is. But listen, if that's the case, right, then the same could be said about Kenyon Martin because there's a viral clip when him and Tim Thomas got into it, and they both were in New York because Tim Thomas was on the Knicks and Kenyon was on the Nets. And Tim Thomas not only called him fugazi and said he faked tough on the court, and he said if he got a problem with that, he could see me. We both in New York. So why didn't that ever escalate then? Like,
I don't know. I don't think Kenyon Martin is fake tough though. I will say
no, I'm not. No, listen. Whether he's real tough, fake tough, right? But my point is, right. This is another example of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Kenyon Martin made that statement after Draymond Green got into it with a fan. Now, if Draymond Green would have crashed out and put his hands on that fan,
oh my goodness,
right? Then Kenyon Martin would have criticized him. You big dummy, you idiot, you just blew your career, right? But because Draymond didn't do that, oh, you a fake tough guy. So which one is it, bro? Like you want the man to crash out for the sake of your approval?
Yeah.
When right, like. Come on, like you really trying to pump fake somebody out their spot just so you can make a point. So again, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Or in terms of NBA, everybody's a fake tough guy because ain't nobody really trying to fight.
Yeah. Will says the divide between Kmart and Draymond is each one's definition of toughness. Draymond, in his own mind, is a goon. Kmart thinks he's a whole. He thinks he would have put Green on his ass without fail. Well, I will say this: if they had played against each other and got into it, I would say Kenya Martin probably would. You know what I'm saying? Be, I guess, the victor in that situation. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough one because
listen.
Draymond does what he needs to do for his team to win, and whether he's fake tough or not, the results speak for themselves.
I like Kenya Martin as a player, and I respect what he's doing in the media space. But I'm gonna keep using that example. I saw him face to face with Tim Thomas, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And in the same regard, right after the game, Tim Thomas made the statement. You can look it up on YouTube. And Tim Thomas said, "We both in New York. If he want to see me, he can see me." And nothing ever escalated. So that's a prime example of ain't nobody really trying to fight on the court.
Yeah.
If that's how Kenya feel, cool.
Well, unless Charles Oakley was definitely trying to fight him.
Right. Oh, but that's also a different era too. And that era, Cats actually fought. Right.
Yeah.
Cats actually fought on the court, and then just kept playing after. But all this talk to me from Kenya and from a lot of people is a lot of jealousy for the success that Draymond has had, because a lot of people view Draymond as like, oh, you was just on that team, so you able to say you a champion. You were just on that team. Cool, but that's a lot of guys though. A lot of guys in the NBA might have just been on the right situation.
Yeah.
To me, that's just a
lot of guys.
Yeah, that's a lot of guys.
So yeah, you can't be mad at that. Let me see here. Kyrie says, Mike Brown, what's y'all thoughts on his job early with the Knicks? What's different in styles from Tibbs? Well, the main thing is he's not running cats to death. That's the main thing. We're not sitting up here talking about the 3-man lineups that got the most minutes played, and all of them is Knicks lineup.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing. I would say the Knicks will be a lot fresher come playoff time, playing at the speed that Mike Brown has them playing at, where there's a little bit more of a rotation with the guys that actually are getting minutes to help just with the starters getting rest. But I will say this too. I like the Knicks' depth more this season than I did last season, right? And so I know that that's probably a contributing factor to Tibbs and how they had to play last year as opposed to what they have to do this year, because they have a better bench and a deeper rotation that they can go to.
So the first thing with Mike Brown, I just think the flow of the offense is much better. Last year was far too ISO centric. A lot of Jalen Brunson go to work and everybody stand around. This year, you see it, especially early in the shot clock. It's a lot more ball movement. It's a lot more off-ball movement. So the offense just looks more efficient in that regard. The second thing, obviously, is the bench. Last year, I think the Knicks were averaging just under 20 points a game from their bench. This year, they're almost at 40 points a game. And a lot of that has to do with just, like you said, one, the bench is better. You add Jordan Clarkson, you're going to get more offense. Absolutely. But also you see Landry Shamet getting more playing time, right? And he just had a 30-point game recently as well. And I think it's very important that Mike Brown is doing that, because as you could see early on, the Knicks have had some injury issues. OG Anunoby's been out of the lineup for a couple games. Brunson missed some time. Mitchell Robinson's been out. So now you've got to rely on these guys, and you need these guys to be ready to go. Landry Shamet actually got hurt at the Orlando game.
Yeah.
And he might be out for a little bit with a shoulder injury. But you need these guys to be ready when their opportunity and their number is called. And I think that's what Mike Brown has done a great job of keeping everybody prepared and understanding that when it's time for you to play, ain't no excuses. That's the main difference between him and Tibbs. Now, the bigger pressing issue, and one of the things that I think is going to become a headline the next couple of weeks, Trip, just pay attention. Karl Anthony Towns' effort on defense. His effort on defense has been terrible.
He ain't never had no effort on defense.
I know.
But he got
this is
so it balanced out.
right. But the real issue now is he hasn't played great offensively. He's been very up and down. And because that trade rumor has already been out there about Giannis, it's going to cause more of a spotlight. Every time Karl Anthony Towns, there's already video circulating of the Orlando game where Mikal Bridges is yelling at Karl Anthony Towns a couple of times because he missed assignments. He didn't rotate on the backside of the defense. The rumblings are going to grow because the Knicks have already lost a couple of games they shouldn't have lost. The Knicks are already looking at a situation where like the expectation is to go to the finals. And if we can make the trade for Giannis, and if that is going to be the difference, again, I said from the start of the season, I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to give up too much of the roster. I didn't want to do anything where we're back to only having 6 or 7 guys that we could trust to play. But if Karl Anthony Towns is not going to give the effort on defense, the Knicks might have to explore that trade because you can already see the frustration from other guys in the starting lineup with Karl Anthony Towns and his effort.
Yeah. Okay, the Thunder 17-1, just being the Thunder. I mean, what else can you say? The best team in basketball. And, they're probably, after the season, they're probably going to be even better and the best team in basketball for a long time because of those draft picks that they got. So, what can you say? Shout out to OKC, man.
The Thunder, yeah, they're going for it. They look like they not only do they want to repeat, they're trying to make history. We talked about it last week. Could they go for the 73? That at this pace, yeah, they might be going for 75 at this pace.
Exactly. Shout out to OKC.
Right.
Who says the WNBA had their draft lottery and the Dallas Wings won again, so it's back-to-back for them. Many say Aussie Food may go number 1, reuniting her with her girlfriend Paige. I mean, that would be nice for them, I guess. They can have a nice little reunion. But I don't know if Dallas has enough for them even having a number 1 pick back-to-back years. That's going to help them out this season. And shout out to Paige because Paige is phenomenal. But they got a lot of flaws on that Dallas team. It's going to take, some work to get them into being playoff contenders.
Yeah, I saw that about Fudd. And I think there's a young lady, I can't think of her name. I was trying to look it up real quick, that plays overseas. That has also been gaining a lot of traction as potential number 1. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go in Dallas.
I feel like if Paige wants her to be the number 1 pick, she will be the number 1 pick because the stars get that pull.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
It's not like she's a bad player, and we're saying, you know what I mean? Like if it was a bad player, it's like, oh, hold on, but she's actually nice.
I just looked her up. Shorty's name is Arwa Fan from Spain. I saw some highlights of her the other day. She's a center, but she plays obviously on the perimeter. Great touch shooting wise. And there's been discussion with Dallas try to pair up Paige with the stretch big who can shoot and space the floor, or would they want to bring in another guard like Fudd, and kind of balance out their backcourt. So, I mean, we'll see what they do, like you said, but if Paige gives, the nod that she wants Aussie Fudd, then that might be the direction they go.
Yeah, I agree. I would think the team probably would want to bring in the big, but again, stars get that pull.
Yeah.
D'Angelo says, Paul Pierce says, Kobe Bryant never was the face of the NBA. Is he tripping or stating facts? Oh, okay, so Kobe was the face of the league, but the time that he was the face of the league was shorter than it should have been. And that's, I believe, because of the situation in Colorado. Stop. You know what I mean? Where he should have been starting being the face of the NBA. That threw everything off. And then he
1,000% agree with you.
had to come back and work and do what he had to do, get back to the finals and do that. And then he became the face of the league, but it wasn't for as long as it should have been because LeBron James was coming.
Yeah. He first of all, Paul Pierce is known to drink on the show, so let's take that into account. Secondly, because of comments like this from guys like Paul Pierce, this is why they're gonna start jacking up the pricing on recording equipment, Trip, because everybody should not have a platform. Paul Pierce is a guy who's been on TV trying to say, remember they gave him that list of players who were better scorers than him, and he damn near thought he was the best scorer of all time.
Everybody, yeah. And they had Mike, Kevin Durant on there.
Yeah.
I believe was on there too.
And with a straight face, he was like, nah, I think I was better. Like, you're bugging. Yeah. But this is why the podcast space has become what it's become. It's all shock value. Paul Pierce knows that Kobe was the face of the league because when they matched up in both their finals appearances, who was the headliner in those? Who was the headliner, right? Kobe Bryant, like you said, the only reason Kobe doesn't have more MVPs and wasn't the face of the league longer is because of that situation in Colorado, and it took the media a little while to kind of get over themselves in that situation. But Paul Pierce, you would think that somebody who played in the league as long as he did and was around so many great players would have an understanding of who was the face of the league. Because if he wasn't the face of the league, then who was the face of the league back in
during that
08,
time?
09,
yeah.
Right. 06, 07, 08, 09, who was the face of the league then?
Yeah.
If it wasn't Kobe. Because it wasn't LeBron yet.
No.
It was never D Wade.
No.
Shaq was already older.
That's what I'm saying. So who else was there at that?
Who was the?
Because
Tim Duncan, as great as Tim was never labeled the face of the league.
No, he wasn't, and he is the greatest
who was the face
of all time. But
right.
So it's Paul Pierce. I got an ongoing feud with Paul Pierce. So it is. It is what it is.
I mean, but it'd be goofy stuff like that, bro. Like, come on, man. How you gonna say he was never the face of the NBA? Like, what?
Paul Pierce being Paul Pierce. Shout out to my guy Hoop Central. He says the Detroit Pistons are 14-2. Are they legit? Legit? Could they scare the Knicks in a 7-game series? I think they are regular season legit. Playoff time, I think they just won legit. they still got some things to prove. Can they compete with the Knicks? Yeah, but ultimately, come playoff time, the Knicks are going to be at their best. I don't think they beat the Knicks in a 7-game series. So I can't say they're legit playoff team.
I think they're legit. I do think they can put a scare in the Knicks because they put a scare in the Knicks last year. They won 6 games. But I stand on the opinion I've had of Detroit all season. And their issue isn't the talent on the team, it's their coach. I don't believe J.B. Bickerstaff is an elite level head coach. He's a good head coach. He can win you some games. He showed that in Cleveland. He's showing it in Detroit right now. But I've also, as a Knicks fan, had my team go against his team 2 times. Once in that New York Cleveland series where we beat them in 5, and then last year where the Knicks beat the Pistons in 6. In last year's series, you look back, the Pistons had the lead in a lot of those games.
Yeah.
The real difference is that J.B. Bickerstaff never made the proper adjustments to close out those games and take advantage of matchups. And that's why I don't think JB is a guy who can elevate them to that next level. I think they're going to have a good regular season, but don't be surprised if come playoff time, they get beat in the first or the second round by a team who has a better head coach. That to me is the Achilles heel of the Detroit Pistons right now. Good young team, don't have a really good head coach though.
What's the deal with Bryce James at Arizona? He hasn't played yet. Wasn't he the better of Bron's kids? Well, just because he's the better of Bron's kids don't mean you're a top player or that you're going to get minutes as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he hasn't been playing. So I can't say, but I mean, he's good enough to get recruited there. You know what I mean? So, I mean, give it some time. He's just a freshman. Like,
wasn't he the better of Bron's kids is a wild statement. Like, I didn't know that goes into the scouting report. Like, oh yeah, he's the better Bron kid. He should play. But I think what's going on in Arizona, and I don't like this for Bryce James because this smells of entitlement. Why are you trying to leave Arizona so quick? You gotta embrace the grind. Pause. It is what it is. You're a freshman. Historically, freshmen don't just come in and get whatever minutes they want. You gotta prove that you're worthy of those minutes. And the fact that Bryce is already talking about transferring, I think it's super whack. And I think I would love for this opportunity, and they will never say it publicly, but I would love this would be a moment where Bron could say to him, no, you're gonna have to stick it out at least for the year. Now, at the end of this year, if you don't like the coaching staff or you feel they treated you unfairly, that's different. But the season just started a month ago, and you're already upset about playing time. Like, this just speaks of entitlement, and I don't like this for Bryce James. I think Bryce James is a talented young man, but sometimes you got to be willing to just go through the grind and understand, yo, it's cool. This is my role for right now, and then as time goes on, things will get better.
Yeah, he's definitely got to stick it out. They're not going to respect it if you transfer from Arizona, you better go to the next school and be averaging 25 and 5. And I don't think that's going to happen. So, like, stick it out at least this year. It is what it is.
Yep.
Will says, God damn, if Bron don't make the show now, bro, as well.
Listen, I agree. Well, I think it's stupid.
And I just want to throw that up there. He said Kobe was the MVP in the face of the league the year Boston won in 08.
Right.
He was sour grapes 1 point. Yeah, agreed. All right, let me go to this one. Did y'all see Cayenne Anthony as part of the Jordan brand that connect with his daddy, and Jordan helped with that, huh? I mean, Jordan, it is Jordan's brand, so that so I would say yes. But yeah, I mean, Carmelo's a Jordan brand athlete. It only seems like that's where he would go.
I mean, of course, the connection helped. His dad already has a relationship with Michael Jordan and with the people over at Jordan Brand and Nike, so it helps. But I mean, let's not act like Cayenne wasn't the #1 rated high school ball player coming out of New York. Let's not act like Cayenne has not played well his freshman year in Syracuse. Mm-hmm. And so Jordan Brand, especially now in the era of NIL money and brand recognition, notices, hey, this is an opportunity to align ourselves with a future star. Again, we don't know what the ceiling is of Cayenne Anthony. But if he continues to have the freshman year he's having, why wouldn't Jordan Brand want to take advantage of that relationship they already have with Carmelo?
Exactly. Let me take Imani's comment, and then we're going to get ready for the final thoughts. Imani says, end of the show comment. Tank was on the Breakfast Club last week and made the statement that Usher is a better singer than R. Kelly. At first, I was like, hell no. But he ain't saying he make better songs or whatever. When y'all hear both, whose voice is better, or maybe pause, touch you more. I just feel like I need to say pause right there. Tank used the word a better technical singer. Okay. Tank is, let me take this off the screen for a second. Tank is a very respected vocalist. So I'm not mad at his take on the two of them. I actually, you know what I'm saying, agree with him about Usher being the better vocalist. That doesn't mean that either one of them makes better songs than the other. That doesn't mean somebody's a better writer than the other. It just means that vocally, he believes that Usher is the better singer than R. Kelly. I would agree with that because I feel like Usher has more range with his voice than R. Kelly does. Now, with that to the side, if we're talking about writing, I would give the edge to R. Kelly. If we're talking about songs and hits, it's pretty close, with the exception of the fact that R. Kelly done wrote a lot of hits for other artists. Usher hasn't written anywhere near as many hits for other artists as R. Kelly. Like R. Kelly got, if I'm not mistaken, got joints for Michael Jackson. I'm talking about. He got a Michael Jackson record in his resume. R. Kelly's written for a lot of people. He's made a lot of hits for a lot of people. But if we're just talking about vocally and your ability to sing, yes, I would agree with Tank, and I would give the edge to Usher.
I mean, I respect Tank's breakdown, and as you said, I think that's a fair assessment. Usher probably is the strongest singer with more range. And if that's what the conversation is, that's what the conversation is. Too often when people compare people, like I said, immediately people jump to, well, R. Kelly got this many hits. Well, that's not what he said.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking about hits. He wasn't talking about catalog. He was just talking about that one specific skill set. And I'm okay with that. I don't think that's controversial. That again, that's his opinion, but I agree with his opinion, and I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to Imani. Shout out to Imani's pops. Appreciate y'all for keeping up with us. She told me today she had to let pops know because we changed the time and he be needing to get his shows right. So but one more thing, Eric, I did want to get your take on before we get to the final thought. Actually, Anthony Joshua replaces Javante Tank Davis. Seeing these guys at the weigh-in, at the face-off, whatever, Anthony Joshua looks like you see how like in a lot of Jake Paul's fight, he looked like he's you know what I'm saying, like this is now the reverse of that. And much respect to Jake Paul, because this is what I've asked for a lot. This is what a lot of people have asked for a lot, for you to fight a legitimate boxer who is in their prime, right now. So I give you all the respect in the world for that, but I think this thing is going to get ugly. Unless the fix is in, I think this thing is going to get ugly. I do not, in nowhere on God's green earth, do I believe that Jake Paul can keep up with Anthony Joshua.
I'll say this first and foremost. I think that Jake Paul, controversial figure, however you feel about him, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna like that he's taking a fight, or you're gonna not like that he's taking a fight, no matter what. I always said from jump that I thought the Tank Davis fight was going to be super tough to get sanctioned because it was too much weight in between them. Mm-hmm. This fight is going to get sanctioned, and that's why they've been able to come to terms much faster, because Jake Paul naturally is already around 200 pounds. And if you're fighting at a heavyweight division, there is no limit on the top end of that. We saw that, remember, when Tyson Fury and Wilder fought, where they could be a 40-pound gap difference. It don't matter in the heavyweight division. So this fight is going to get sanctioned. I personally think that Jake Paul feels like Anthony Joshua is damaged goods. There's been rumblings from multiple people that are much closer to the sport than we are that have said Anthony Joshua was never the same after Andy Ruiz knocked him out and beat him. A lot of people have said he's never been the same. And I think Jake Paul's viewing it as like, look, he's more experienced than me. Yes, he's a bigger fighter than me. But if I put enough pressure on him, maybe he'll crack. That's what I think. Now, do I think Jake Paul's going to win? I don't think Jake Paul's going to win. But I'm going to be honest with you, Trip, and I told you this in text. I don't think it's going to be as lopsided as everybody thinks. Because, again, I think we're giving Anthony Joshua more credit because of his name. But you look at Anthony Joshua's fights over the last 5-6 years, Anthony Joshua has not been good. And in name recognition and in stature, when you look at him, it's like, oh, yeah, this is a big guy. But like most big guys who lack skill, they get hit once or twice, they change. So I want to see if Jake Paul can survive 2 rounds with Anthony Joshua. I want to see how Anthony Joshua responds. I'm going to be honest. That's how I think it's going to play. I think it's going to go to distance. I think Anthony Joshua will beat him just because, again, he's the more skilled boxer. He's has more ring experience than Jake Paul, and there's no way that Jake Paul should be able to outbox him. But I would not be surprised if Jake Paul really tries to pressure him, thinking like, I'm going to test your jaw. I'm going to see if you are the guy you once were, or if you're just more of a name at this point. But if you look at Anthony Joshua's resume since Andy Ruiz beat him, and even in that rematch against Andy Ruiz, he ran. He did not want to engage Andy Ruiz. And I think Jake Paul and his people probably looked at it and say, yo, there's a prime opportunity to probably take advantage of a guy who really isn't 100% invested in the fight.
Yeah, but that's gonna be a mistake for them to do that. Because even when you say, okay, he's not the same fighter after he fought Anthony Ruiz, right? He went 6-3 after that. One, and then two, not being the same fighter versus other highly skilled top level talent fighters, and then Jake Paul is two different things.
No,
So
listen.
They're not going there with that mentality, thinking this is about to be some cakewalk.
No. I never said that.
No, not you.
I never said.
No. I'm not saying you. I'm saying I hope Jake Paul and his team aren't thinking that, because
I don't think they view it as a cakewalk either. I don't think they view it as like, oh, we just gonna.
I don't mean that cakewalk in essence. I just mean that, okay, yeah, he hasn't looked good, so I can get one up on him like that. And you go with that mentality.
I think they view it as like, this is a guy he's right to be beat.
Yeah.
He's a guy who has not been the same. He's a guy, again, Anthony Joshua has been in some wars. Anthony Joshua is 36, 37 years old. So he's been in some wars. It's very possible you again, when you look at him physically, you're like, oh man, that's Anthony Joshua. Like, he still looks in great shape.
Yeah.
But mentally, he might not be the guy who wants to engage. Mentally, he might not be the guy who wants to get in there and fight with you. Right? And so it's very possible. That's why I said it'll be interesting to see if Jake Paul can survive the first 2 rounds. Because if he gets through the first 2 rounds, his confidence is going to go through the roof. Like, oh, maybe Joshua don't hit that hard. Maybe he don't want to get in the ring with me. You know what I'm saying? And then that's going to become the point where I think he's going to start trying to put pressure on him. I would still expect Joshua to win. If I'm betting on it, I'm putting Joshua to win. But I just personally think Anthony Joshua has not been a good fighter the last couple of years. He's more named than anything. Anthony Joshua, up until this day, has still ducked Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
He still don't want to fight Deontay, even though Deontay Wilder himself is over the hill. He still don't want no parts of that. So that speaks to where he's at mentally. And I think that's what Jake Paul is looking at. This is a guy who mentally does not want to really fight. He's just doing it because, this is what I've done, and it's an easy check. But do I really want to be in there? Probably not.
Do you feel like Deontay Wilder would have been a better fight? No, I'm not. I'm saying Wilder Paul, not Wilder Joshua.
I mean, I think it would have probably been a more exciting fight because Deontay Wilder would have been looking for the knockout.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where like I said, I really think Anthony Joshua is going to be okay with just winning by decision. That's why I don't want to say like, if it goes the distance, the fix is in, because I think that Anthony Joshua's mindset is going to be like, I just want to get through these rounds.
Yeah.
I really don't think Anthony Joshua's going to go in there looking with the killer instinct. So don't be surprised when they fight if Anthony Joshua is just picking his shots and moving around. He's not. I don't think he's going to have the killer instinct to be like, yo, I'm going to try to put this dude away. If he was fighting Deontay Wilder, even though Wilder's over the hill as well, I think Wilder would be like, I'm looking to knock his head off, because that's just Wilder's. That's his style. That's his style. He don't know. That's what I'm saying. Wilder don't know no other way. It's like, I'm trying to knock you out. Yeah. I don't think Anthony Joshua's coming in with that mindset.
Facts.
And there was something interesting that Jake Paul said, and I think it could happen too. He said that when they were searching for the replacement, he threw out a couple big names. That Crawford said he was willing to fight him, but Crawford wanted to do it next year.
Yeah.
And I think some of that is because Crawford and Canelo, there's been talks that they're probably going to get it on one more time.
Before, okay.
So it's possible that Crawford...
Next 2 big paydays.
Right.
Yeah.
It's possible that Crawford and his team probably already know, like, hey, we're going to negotiate the rematch with Canelo. But maybe after we're done with that, maybe towards the end of 2026, maybe a year from now, Crawford and Paul for, like, the big payday happens.
If I felt like you don't want to step in the ring with Anthony Joshua, you damn sure don't want to step in the ring.
Well, Crawford, that's different. That's what I'm saying. I think Crawford would embarrass him. Yeah, Crawford would embarrass him. I 1,000% agree with that.
Ain't no, I'm trying to go the distance and just get the win. Crawford is going to embarrass him.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Crawford would embarrass him. I know that. We all know that. But that's why I don't view this the same way. That's why when the name of Anthony Joshua is more of that. It's a name. Yeah. Anthony Joshua to me don't have the killer instinct no more. So if Anthony Joshua go through 8-10 rounds and they just box it to death, cool. And he'll be more than okay with that.
Yeah. All right, Eric, give us a final thought, man.
As always, shout out to the supporters. You guys were great tonight. Comment section was buzzing. As of right now, we are intending to record on Wednesday night. But Trip, I was going to tell you off air, same way I told Will. If anything changes, because I know with the holiday, just let me know. We'll push it back. But as of right now, we're intending to record 7:30 on Wednesday. If we don't, though, I want to say right now, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I want to say right here on air, I'm thankful for my brothers, Trip Young, Will Gordon, man. It's great always being able to get together. Obviously, me and Trip don't get to see each other in person as much as we used to, but it's always great to get on the lives and talk shit back and forth. Same thing with Will, man. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And like I said, if we do record on Wednesday, we will see you at 7:30.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to piggyback off of that, man. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Hopefully we still see you on Wednesday, but if not, we will definitely be back next Monday and next Wednesday. Getting right back to this thing. Nothing but love for you guys. Appreciate y'all so much. And shout out to our brother Sean Fontaine, came up to New York this week. You know what I'm saying? Got to catch
Shout
up
out
with
to Sean.
family. So big shout out to Sean Fontaine. And yeah, man, with that being said, oh, hold up. Make sure y'all follow us on all our social media: Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. And of course, subscribe to that YouTube channel, YouTube.com/For the Fans Productions. And if you're not in the New York City area and you can't watch us on Verizon 43 on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m., do not worry. You can watch us from anywhere in the world. Just go to that website, realfansrealtalk.com. Click that red button on the homepage and watch from wherever you are on the planet. I don't know if you're underwater, you could still do it. But if you're anything
I'm sure
above,
there's a way.
if you're above sea level, you're definitely good. With that being said, though, for myself, Trip Young, for my brother, my co-host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games, we up out of here. Peace.